Hi everybody, my name is Rupa, working as assistant professor in Chevron Engineering College. I'm dealing the subject for electronic controllers and drives, and today's topic in this is 4-quadrant control. So now I am dealing about the 4-quadrant control. Method 2, already method 1 is completed. Now we are going for method 2. So in method 1, we have continuously, we have put on and off of switches S1 to S4. Now the switches S1 and S2 with diodes D1 and D2, these provide a circuit identical same as Chopper 4.13. Okay, so if you combine the switches S1 and S2 and the diodes D1 and D2, so this is a 2-quadrant control chopper class C. So same as 4.13, we can figure out that one. This chopper is providing a positive current and a variable voltage in both the directions. In either directions, we can go for positive voltage, negative voltage, and positive current and negative current. Right, so this chopper, as it is allowing in either directions, it allows the motor control in quadrant 1 and 4. Okay, so if it is allowing the motor to motor to act as a forward motoring in 1 and 4, then what about regenerative braking? So the braking coordinates quadrants are 2 and 3. So the remaining 2 quadrants 2 and 3 are braking. Okay, so if you see that when the switches S1 and S2, D1, D2 are used, we are getting a forward control motoring for quadrants 1 and 4. And what is the remaining portion of the chopper? S3 and S4 with diodes D3 and D4, it forms other chopper. Okay, so in this chopper, we are in before chopper, we are getting a forward positive and variable voltage current. Okay, now in this, when it is dealing with S3, S4 switches and D3, D4 diodes, we are getting a negative current with a variable voltage in either direction. So the motor controls will be in the quadrant 2 and 3. Now, our main aim is we have to switch over from quadrants 1 to 3 or 2 to 4, like that. So first we will be doing the changing over quadrants from 1 to 3. Okay, right? So this switch over from quadrant 1 to quadrant 3, it can be carried out using the steps what I am following. So there are simple steps for switch over from quadrants. So first one, in quadrant 1, first we have to discuss the switches. What are the working conditions of the switches in quadrant 1, and for the switching over we have to do the steps. So first, in quadrant 1, the switches S1 and S2 are controlled with 0.5 limits from 0.5 to 1 of duty ratio. Okay, so from the switches S1 and S2, these two switches S1 and S2, these are controlled by the duty ratio delta from the limits 0.5 to 1. Okay, for S1 to S1 and S2 switches. Okay, next, this armature current has the direction which I am showing in the figure, like this only, this one. So I am showing in the armature current is having from positive to negative, right? So in the same direction, this armature current will be in this same direction as shown in the figure only. For the changeover of switch from S1 and S2, sorry, S1 from the changeover of switch S1, now the switch S1 and S2 are controlled by delta, right? So we have to now change the switch from S1. So for changeover of switch from S1, S2 both are turned off. S1 and S2 are both turned off. Now we have to switch over to S3 and S4, right? So first for changeovering, we have to first off S1 and S2. So what happens? Now the armature current now flows through diode D1 here. If S1 and S2 is off, the armature current will be flowing through diode D1 like here. And after the D1, it will be going to the source like this. And after that, source D2. And after that, it reaches again the armature. So what is the path 1? See here, from the armature current from the armature flows through D1 and next to the source, because S1 is turned off and S2 is turned off and no branches will be there. And S3 and S4 are already off. Okay, so like this from source and D2 and again it reaches the armature current. Okay, armature, this one position, motor position. And after reaching it, it quickly falls to 0 because I am making the control signals IC1 and IC2 off. So through this travel, the armature current will be falling to 0. Then the motor back EMF has a polarity with the left terminal positive. Okay, now the switches S3 and S4 are controlled with delta in the range from 0 to 0.5. S1 and S2 are controlled from 0.5 to 1. Now S3 and S4 are controlled from 0 to 0.5 delta. Okay, now the motor current will be flowing in the reverse direction and it reaches the maximum value which is shown in the equation 4.39. Once you refer the equation 4.39, you can see. Now, when the delta reaches the maximum value, there is a current control loop that regulates the delta to keep the current from the maximum permissible values. Okay, so this delta is regulated by a current control loop which will be keeping the delta exceeding the maximum permissible value. Now what happens? If the current control loop comes into existence, the motor will be decelerating at a maximum torque and it reaches 0 speed. Now this motor is set to the desired speed by adjusting the value of delta duty ratio. So we can adjust the value of duty ratio from 0.5 to 1. Now the motor will be accelerating at a maximum torque. So when it is accelerating at maximum torque, its current will be regulated by the current control loop and the settling of delta will be by our desired value, steady state speed. But this settling of speed will be in reverse direction, remember. Okay, so this method of control has the following features when compared to method 1. Already method 1 is discussed, but method 2 is having some disadvantages compared to the method 1. What will you see now? First one, at near 0 output voltage, each switch should be on for a period of nearly t seconds. Okay, so this is more possible. This will be a disadvantage. So we have to omit this. We have to eliminate this. Okay, so before approaching the 0, every switch, each and every every switch will be on for a period of nearly t seconds. But there is no limitation on the minimum output voltage and minimum motor speed. And second one, there is no need for delay time between the turn off of one switch and turn on off other switch. Actually, we have to maintain a delay time of 2 to 10 milliseconds, and we have to ensure that before switchover, we have to ensure that previous switch is turned off. So if the previous switch is turned off, then only we have to on the next switches. Okay, so there is no now there is no disadvantage of this. We can satisfactorily operate the switches. So consequently, the frequency of operation will be higher and the switch loss is less because only one switch per cycle of the output voltage will be compared to 2 in method 1. So due to the symmetrical operation, the switches have a better utilization factors. This is all over for method 2. Next, there is other method, method 3. Okay, so this is all about method 2 here. Next one, method 3. In this method 3, this method is nothing but a modification of method 2. So what is happening in method 2? The switches S1 and S2 with diodes D1 and D2 from one chopper, it will allow the motor control in quadrants 1 and 4. This is chopper 1. The second chopper will be providing operation in quadrants 2 and 3. And it is formed by switches 3 and 4, diodes 3 and 4. Okay, so if you see that this two types of methods, in method 2, you are observing that these choppers are controlled separately. In the present method, these choppers are controlled simultaneously as follows. Okay, the advantage of this method is these choppers are controlled simultaneously. So how is it means? You will see now. See here, if you observe the diagrams here, the control signals for switches S1, S4 and S1, these are denoted by IC1, IC2. Up to from S1 to S2, these are the control signals IC1, IC2, IC3, IC4. From S1 to S4 switches, we are giving the control signals IC1, 2, 3, 4. So as with the convention adopted here, a switch will be conducted if the control signals is present, right? And if the control signals are present, it is forward biased. Otherwise, what happens? It will be remaining opened. Now, the control signals from IC1 to IC4 here. The control signals from IC1 to IC4 and the waveform of VA, IA and IS. VA, IA and IS. For forward motoring and forward regeneration, these are shown here. See here, these are the figures for VA, IA and IS. Okay, so these are for both forward motoring and forward regeneration. And switches S1 and S2, these are given control signals with a phase difference of t seconds. Remember, switches S1 and S2. S1 and S2, simultaneous switches S1 and S2. These are given control signals with a phase difference of t seconds. And switch S1 will be receiving a control signal from t is equal to 0 to 2 delta t. switch S1 will be receiving the control signal from 0 to 2 delta T. Whereas here the duty ratio will be T on by 2T. Duty ratio will be T on by 2T. Delta is T on by 2T. And the control signal for S2 is present from T is equal to T to T is equal to T plus 2T. From T is equal to T to T is equal to 2 plus 2T. So switches S1 and S4, switches S1, see here S1 and S4. These are complementary pair. That means S1, S4 and S2 and S3. These are called as complementary pairs. S1 and S4. Next S2 and S3. These are called as complementary pairs. S1, S4 conducts and S2 and S3 will be conducting same time. So why we are calling this as complementary pair means, actually in the sense that these switches of the same pair will be receiving control signals alternately. Okay. The switches of the same pair will be receiving the control signals alternately. Usually, we will give some interval time between the turn off of one switch and the turn on of other switch, for the same pair to ensure that they are not on the same time. So this interval in method 3, this interval is neglected in drawing the waveforms. I am not showing you any time delay in method 3 while drawing the waveforms. In the duration of 2t seconds, remember, in the duration of 2t seconds, this is also the time period of each switch. The chopper will be operating in 4 intervals, which are marked as 1, 2, 3, 4. See here, these are the markings 1, 2, 3 and 4. In the duration of 2t seconds. So up to duration of 2t seconds, we are getting 4 intervals. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So the chopper will be marked as 4 intervals, which is working. And the devices under this conduction during these intervals are also shown. S1 in first interval, S1, S2 will be conducting. In second interval, S1 and D1 will be conducting. In third interval, S1 and S2 will be conducting. In fourth interval, up to 2 delta T, S1 is on. So S1 is off from fourth interval. So S2 will be conducting from that time. So see here, S2 will be conducting from T seconds. Okay. So from S2, from third interval, S2 will be start. So S1, S2 and D2. And again, S1 will be starting from 2t. So S1 will be there. Again, here this is the first interval. S1, S2 will be again first interval. Sorry, first quadrant. Okay. So the operation of machine in the quadrant 1 can be what we are explaining. See here, I am explaining the machine, operation of the machine in quadrant 1. So see here, first the interval, in the interval 1, switches S1 and S2 are conducting as shown in the figure. See here, I'm erasing all, wait. In the first one, S1 and S2 are conducting in the interval S1. Sorry, first quadrant or interval 1. Now the motor is subjected to positive voltage. Here the motor is having positive voltage. This voltage is nothing but the value of source voltage. And in the first interval, the armature current will be increasing. Now, at the end of first interval, S2 is turned off. Here, in the second interval, see, S2 is not there. S2 is turned off, right? In the second interval, S2 is turned off. So, in the second interval, the switches S1 and S3 will be receiving control signals. S1 and S3 will be receiving control signals in the second interval. Because as the motor is carrying a positive current, it flows through a path consisting of D1 and S1. Right? So, VA is 0 and IA will be decreasing. Got the point? In interval 2, S1, S3 will be receiving the control signals. See here, S1 and S3 will be receiving the control signals in interval 2 here. Right? Under 2. Okay, so now the motor is carrying a positive current still, right? No negative currents are there. So the motor is carrying a positive current. It will be flowing through a path which is consisting of D1 and S1. So because it is flowing through the D1 and S1, VA is 0 here. So VA is not there here. So IA will be decreasing. Whenever VA is if you observe that whenever VA is 0, IA will be decreasing. So here VA will be 0, IA will be decreasing. VA is 0, IA will be decreasing. That means it is not getting any voltage to the motor now. So no current will be flowing. So VA is 0 and IA will be decreasing. Next, the switch S1 will be remains off. Because as it is reversed biased by the voltage drop of the conducting diode. As still the diode is conducting D1, the voltage drop will be reverse biasing the S3. Okay, though S3 is getting the control signals, but it is reverse biased. It is off by D1. Okay, so see here. At the beginning of interval 3, S2 is turned on again. At the interval of beginning 3 here, S2 is again turned on. So if I turn on S2, now VA will be increasing to V. VA will be increasing to V. So IA will also be increasing. As VA is there, IA will be increasing. Okay, so at the interval of 3, switch S1 is turned off. At the interval of 3, after the interval 3, S1 is turned off. S1 is turned off again. So in the interval 4, S2 and switches S2 and S4 will be receiving the control signals. S2 and S4 will be receiving the control signals in interval 4. But S4 does not conduct because it is reverse biased by the voltage drop that is applied by the D2. As D2 is conducting here, the reverse bias voltage will be, the voltage drop in the D2 will be applied to S4. So it is off. Here, the voltage drop across the D1 makes the reverse bias of S3. So S3 will be off. Here, due to D2, S4 will be off. Here, due to D1, S3 will be off in second interval. Okay, so you have to note one point that the output voltage waveform is identical to the top figure before figure what I have shown. So same equations 38 and 39 can be applicable here also. And we have to know that we have to confirm where the forward motoring is obtained for us. So see here, when the IA is positive, we are getting the forward motoring. And this forward motoring operation can be transferred from forward, the forward motoring can be shifted to forward regeneration by decreasing the delta or increasing the voltage E to make VA less than E. Okay, if you make VA less than E value, then we can change over from forward motoring to reverse, that is forward regenerating. Or if you make IA as negative, then we can switch over to forward motoring to forward regeneration. Okay, so the waveforms are also shown here. I will show you the waveforms. See, these are the waveforms for forward regeneration. 0.5 to 1 when VA will be less than E. So here we can explain the 4 intervals, the devices conducting in 4 intervals, 1, 2, 3, 4. These are also shown here. Now the explanation will be as follows. See here. In the interval 1, switches S1 and S3 will be receiving control signals. S1 and S3. See here, right below the interval 1, S1 and S3 will be receiving control signals. And the positive back EMF, it forces the negative current through the diode D3 and switch S3. So during this interval, what happens? IA increases. IA increases. And increasing the as the IA will be increasing, it increases the energy stored in the armature circuit inductance. So now switch S1 do not conduct due to reverse bias, which is provided by the drop of conducting diode D3. Same procedure is applied here also. As it is reverse biased by the as the switch S1 is reverse biased by the conducting diode D3, S1 is off. Only S3 is on. That's why I'm showing you D3, S3. Now S3 is opened at the interval of 1. S3 will be opened. That means no control signals for S3. After the interval 1. Now the armature current is forced through diode D3, source voltage V and diode D4. Now the energy is fed to the source at this time. So now, although the switches S1 and S2 are receiving the control signals, they remain open because there is a reverse bias that is provided by the voltage drops of diodes D3 and D4. Here, S1 and S2 are receiving control signals, but these are applied by the reverse biased. These are reverse biased by the diodes, conducting diodes. The voltage drop of these diodes will reverse biases the S1 and S2. So that's why they do not conduct here. So they will be remaining open here. And the motor voltage, terminal voltage is now V and IA will be decreasing here. So S4 is turned on at interval 3. S4 is turned on at interval 3 and S2 is also on, but due to the voltage drop that is applied across the S3, it is opened. Sorry, S2. So S2 will not work there. The armature current magnitude and again it will be built up. So S4 is turned off at the interval of 3. Again S4 is turned off at the interval 3. Now the armature current is forced again through diode D3 and the source and the diode D4. Now the energy is fed to the source. Again here you are getting the signals for S1 and S2, but due to the voltage drops, they will reverse biases the S1 and S2, so they will not conduct. So the motoring and regenerative braking operations in the reverse directions, these are obtained when delta is from limit 0 to 0.5, where VA is negative. And reverse motoring is obtained by setting delta when VA is greater than V. And reverse direction is realized when E is greater than VA. Okay, so this method is simply used for controlling the circuit compared to methods 1 and 2. Since some time must be elapsed between the turn off of one switch and turn on of other switch. So complementary pairs, if you form the complementary pairs as S1, S4 and S2, S3, maximum permissible frequency of operation must be lowered when compared to that of method 2. This is all about fourth quadrant operation. Now we will see next classes, problems and other.